Tansila?
Tansila?
Tansila,
Yes,
are you
ma'am.
there?
Yes, ma'am.
Tansila, you start the session, no problem.
A very good morning to all dignitaries, guests, delegates, and students. With great joy and immense exultation, I am Bijli Tanzila Bashir Ahmed, student of second year CSE department, feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to all present here. Today we are here for the event which is organized and will be conducted by Computer Science and Engineering Department in association with Institutions Innovation Council on the topic Accelerators Incubation, Opportunities for Students and Faculties, Early Stage Entrepreneurs. Today we are here with our guest, Mr. Yogesh Kondaskar sir, who is co-founder of Canexon, CEO and Chief Innovator at Bistion. Also, we have Ms. Kyla Rumini ma'am with us, who is co-founder and COO at Canexon. And also, we have Mr. Nitesh Agarwal sir, who is co-founder of Colodex and Crypdex. I would like to begin this session with a very energetic message which will help everyone to take the challenges positively. जो सफर की शुरुआत करता है वो मंजिल को पार करता है जो सफर की शुरुआत करता है वो मंजिल को पार करता है बस एक बार चलने का हौसला रखिए बस एक बार चलने का हौसला रखिए कोशिश करने वाले इंसान का तो रास्ता भी इंतजार करता है Today's session is related to entrepreneurship. We all should focus on it and be attentive and energetic in whole session. Same as like the energetic message we have just heard. So with this note, I would like to give my heartiest welcome to our today's guest of honor, our respected principal and vice principal, sir, all the members of Institution Innovation Council, and my dear friends. So first of all, I would like to invite Professor Gulnaz Thakur ma'am, Staff Coordinator of CSA Department, to introduce our today's guest.
Thank you, Tansila. Good morning, all of you. On behalf of NB Knowledge Sihagar College of Engineering, Solapur, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, in association with Institutions Innovation Council, I, Professor Gulnaz Thakur, welcome all of you for today's session. I know today this is the task of introducing our guest of honor and speaker. This is a difficult task, but I feel elated to introduce him to everyone. After all, he is a living inspiration to the young ones and young ones. I mean, to we teachers and our students. If one takes a closer look at the alchemy of achieving person, two distinct virtues pop up, besides perseverance and hard work. Yes, these are pioneering spirit and willingness. Let me introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Yogesh Kondaskar, who is a serial entrepreneur, innovator, technical industry expert, startup advisor, speaker, and coach. He is having a long journey of 25 years in the industry of experience with technology and leadership. Mr. Yogesh is the co-founder of Canexon, world's only positive social network of impact. Mr. Yogesh is also the CEO, Chief Innovator at Distil, and in this role, he helps businesses improve operation efficiency and enhance customer experiences by providing solutions leveraging digital technologies such as cloud, BPM, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain. Mr. Yogesh is also a mentor excubator. Excubator provide mentorship, seed feeding, technical expertise, and access to the community of the industry professionals to help founders grow and scale their businesses. In Excubator, he guides startup founders and young entrepreneurs to navigate through their early stage startup challenges. I'm feeling proud to mention here that Mr. Yogesh is a responsible citizen of India. During this pandemic, he is conducting several programs on awareness of COVID-19. We are having one more eminent personality with us. Let me introduce Ms. Kayla Romine. She is a young entrepreneur, co-founder of Canexon, and an expert in HR. She is a vivid traveler and active volunteer supporting several social organizations. Friends, I'm not stopping here. We are very fortunate enough to have one more eminent personality with us, Mr. Nitesh Agarwal. He is the innovator, young entrepreneur, co-founder of Canexel, and he is also a technology expert who has developed two successful apps. Mr. Nitesh is also an industry expert in blockchain. Once again, I welcome all the eminent personality and express my sincere thanks towards our organizations for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much, Tanzila. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Professor Gulnaz Patel, ma'am, convener of IIC, to tell us about IIC.
Okay. Thank you, Tanzila. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you so much. A very good morning to one and all. I am Professor Gulnaz Patel from Computer Science and Engineering Department. As a convener of our institution's Innovation Council, I warmly welcome all the dignitaries, delegates, my fellow faculty members, and my dear students on behalf of Institution's Innovation Council for today's webinar. As we all know, today our CSC department arranged a session on accelerators, incubation, opportunities for students and faculty's early stage entrepreneurs in association with IIC. I think it is the best time to understand what is the need of IIC. First of all, let me give you a brief idea of IIC. In the year 2018, the Ministry of Education, through MOE's Innovation Cell, that is MIC, launched Institutions Innovation Council program in collaboration with AICTE for all higher education institute. IIC constantly promotes the culture of innovation and the startup ecosystem within educational institutions. The role of IIC is to involve a large number of faculties, students, and staff in variety of innovation and entrepreneurship related activities such as ideation, problem solving, proof of concept, design thinking, IPR, project handling and management at incubation and pre-incubation stage. This involvement will help to establish and stabilize the ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship at higher education institutions. There are a lot of challenges the higher education institutions are facing, like less number of unplanned entrepreneurship activities with the low involvement of top leaders, lack of resources, lack of synergy in mobilization. So IIC model is designed to address all these issues. So if you want to talk about the major focus of IIC is to establish a startup supporting mechanism in institutes and to develop a better cognitive ability for technology students. So now let us know what are the functions that are carried out by our institution's Innovation Council. IIC need to conduct various innovation and entrepreneurship related activities which are prescribed by a central MIC in a time-bounded fashion. So they need to identify and reward the innovations and share the stories of successful innovators and entrepreneurs. They have to organize a periodic workshops, seminar, interaction with the entrepreneurs, investors, professionals, and create a pool of mentor for student innovators. They need to create a communication network with the peers and national entrepreneurship development organizations. They need to organize hackathon, idea competition, mini challenges, etc. with the involvement of the industry. And our IIC is working on all these functions. Now let us see what are the benefits of part of IIC program. These benefits will not be limited to the students. This is the institute and faculty which are involved in the IIC activities will also get benefited. There are a lot of benefits to be a part of IIC program. Let me list out some of them. The major benefit is that no major capital investment is required from an institute for establishment of IIC. A student faculty associated with IIC will get exclusive opportunities to participate in various innovation related initiatives and competitions which are organized by MOE, that is Ministry of Education, and can win exciting prizes and certificates. All the students, faculties involved in IIC will be able to meet and interact with the renowned business leaders and top academicians. It will give an opportunity to nurture and prototype new ideas. It involves mentoring by industry professionals. It allows and assists us to experiment with the new and latest technologies. It gives us an opportunity to visit new places and learn a new culture. I would like to sincerely thank our management, our honorable principal sir and vice principal sir, who are guiding us continuously for smooth conduction of these IIC activities. I thank you, sir, on behalf of IIC. I hope this will help you to understand the importance of our IIC. I'm really thankful to Professor G.T. Thakur and Tanzila Bijli, who gave me an opportunity to talk to you. Thank you, Tanzila. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Professor S.T. Jagdap sir, President of IIC, to brief us about conducted events of IIC.
Good morning, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody. First of all, I would like to congratulate Thakur ma'am for conducting such a beautiful event, having three young entrepreneurs, namely Yogesh Kundaskar, Nitesh Agarwal, and Kaila Ramin. Nitesh Agarwal has already developed 2 apps as per his explanation given by Thakur madam in the introduction stage. And I'm very much thankful to the guests also, Yogesh Kondraskar, Nitesh Agarwal, Kaila Romin, for giving us a time to our students regarding the to overcome the early stages problems that the student might face while they are starting the entrepreneurship. Today, Naikwadi sir is not there, but let me tell you that IIC was started at our college in 2018, and from the very beginning only we got first 1-star ranking, 3-star ranking, and last year we got 4.5-star ranking. I thanks to our honorable principal, Dr. S.D. Navle sir, who motivated us to start this activity in our college. And I also thank Vice Principal Dr. R.T. Vevare, who always motivate and give us the activity plan to conduct the lectures, expert lectures with some theme. Let me tell you how we have conducted the programs this year. In the month of March only, means in the 3rd and 4th quadrant I'm talking about, we conducted the IPR. See, when we talk about the entrepreneurship, we should know about the IPR, patenting and all. So we had a session in the month of March about the IPR. Then when we start our business, we should know how that business will run, what are the challenges, how we can overcome it, what are the various alternatives. So we had the business model canvas lecture on it. Then when we have the idea, we converted into prototype. That prototype and process design and development lecture was also conducted. Then related to that, in the last week, we had conducted lean startup and minimum viable product and business. We also had a technical event, DISTA, where we had the business model canvas or the biz talk as one of the event. As per the MIC driven activities, some faculties have their PhD or the master's degree, and they have the good research oriented subjects, how they can be converted into the startup. That lecture was also conducted by MIC. And then why patenting is important in academia, in academics, that was also conducted. Today we are having a session on acceleration and incubation opportunities for students and faculty at early stages. No doubt our guest will be talking about it, but let me tell you that accelerators emphasize on rapid growth and successful product launch. Means though you have the idea, though you have the prototype, though you have the business model canvas, but it has to be done in a short duration of time, and that has been done by the accelerators. As far as incubators are concerned, incubators support the development of startups by providing them with advisory and administrative support services. And let me tell you on this occasion that luckily our honorable principal is now Dean of Science and Technology of our university. And at the same time, our vice principal is coordinator of innovation and incubation of university. So this is the best opportunity for the students to go for entrepreneurship. Our principal and vice principal will surely tell you that how we have the incubation and what facilities we do provide to the students. So maximum students today are from computer engineering. Nowadays, you are having much more job opportunities. But if you go in the business, if you see the history, means from Bill Gates to the Mark Zuckerberg or the today's guest, they have started their own business at the early stages. And when you do a job, then your next generation again starts from 0. But if you do a business, you give a platform to the coming generations. See, the Tanzila had shared one beautiful message in the beginning. To add to it, I would like to tell you about few days before I saw the WhatsApp video of Mr. Ronaldo, who is a football champ, and he was jumping 2 meters above the ground to do the heading, to do the goal. So from that, we can come to know that he got the requisite training from within the house, from his dad, from his teachers, and now he has stretched his capabilities with some calculated risk to achieve his goal. Friends, this entrepreneurship is similar to that. So I once again appeal all the students to take this benefit of the lectures of Yogesh Kundaskar, Nitesh Agarwal, and Kaila Romane, and be the entrepreneurs of tomorrow. If you be the entrepreneurs, see, if from your class only 6 become the entrepreneurs, you get a job to 60 students. And from Solapur, if there are so many entrepreneurs, then the Solapur students need not have to go to big cities, and Solapur will be developed. So thank you for my small speech and giving me an opportunity. Over to you, Tanzila.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Professor A.A. Patak, sir, HOD of CSE department, to express his views.
Okay, warm good morning to all. My voice is audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
It's
you are.
audible.
See, I think as per our schedule, I want to introduce my computer science and engineering department. Okay, and always I say that it is a proud feeling to be the part of the CSE department of NBW Senior College of Engineering and being the head of the department. See, my department or our department has an excellent tradition of the academic, having the very good all clear passing result, as well as having the very good university ranks. At the same time, I would very happy that the placement record of the department is always very good. As everyone knows that every student is eager to join a multinational IT industry or the company, and we are having more than 90% of the placement record, whereas we are having more than 10 to 20% student who are going to pursue their post graduation, maybe MTech or the MS. Now, at the same time, in this webinar, I'm very happy that we are having 8 students or 8 pass out students. Those have their own IT industries. They have started their own IT industry. Okay, and here I'm very happy today. That's why I say this is a very fresh morning that we are going to listen to all our guests, and it is very important for all the faculty members as well as the student to start thinking about the startup. And whatever the 8 or 9 the IT industry our students are having, generally they have started it, I say that maybe little bit late, because first general habit they are having is they will join some MNC company, take the experience over there for more than 2-3 years, and then or maybe pursue their MS, and then they start thinking about the startup or starting their own IT industry. Okay, but definitely this session will help, okay, all the faculty members as the students of my department to start thinking about the startup or to start their business or to use their all the technical skill, okay, in the to have their own IT industry. So I really happy to listen to the webinar, and I'm really thankful to our principal, vice principal sir, and management for inculcating such a very such type of the culture in the among the students as well as the faculty, not only to get behind the placement or the job, okay, but to start thinking about the startup and use all your, okay, technical skill for the same purpose. So we are eagerly waiting for all of you, all the speakers, to listen from you. Okay, so definitely this session will help all my department student as well as the faculty members. Okay, at the same time, I really congratulate to the coordinator of this workshop, Professor Gulnaz Patel Madam, as well as the Thakur Madam. Thank you all the students. Over to you, Sanjana.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Atif Vivhare, sir, HOD of Mechanical Department and Vice Principal of NBNS COE, to address us.
Good morning, all. Hope I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are.
Good
Yes,
morning,
sir.
sir. You're audible.
Okay. Warm welcome to all. Really, today this is a proud moment for all of us, NB Knowledge Single College of Engineering, for having a such kind of a webinar today. So first of all, I thank IIC SAIL, its member, staff coordinator, GT Thakur Madam, convener, GI Madam, Patel Madam, Vice President, Naikwadi sir, President, Jagtap sir, for organizing such kind of event. So I thank HOD CAC for organizing this today's event on the topic related to computer science. Friends, special day for all of us, because I first welcome today's resource persons, Kaila Romini Madam and Nilesh Agrawal sir. Friends, what we session is accelerators, incubations, and opportunities. And I think looking at the today's speakers, so the speakers, they have developed something, and they have already they have not only developed their own startups, but they are helping others, young entrepreneurs, to develop the startups. And I think this is very good opportunity for all of us to listen to such people who have already done something work in the incubation side, because they are not just like a theoretical, like we teachers, they are not going to just teach theory, but definitely they are going to share today their experiences for difficulties the entrepreneurs or startup young entrepreneurs and startup new early age startups they face, and how they come up out of that. So they might have witnessed such kind of things, because many of such entrepreneurs and startups, they might have came in their contact, and they might have given suggestions and very good guidance to them. So definitely, so their expertise will help us to understand this topic, today's topic, in detail. Friends, today's world is of technology, and as we all are technocrats, so every technocrat's final aim or ambition in the life should be entrepreneurship or startup. And I'm very optimistic today, because today's whatever the young generation, so definitely it is thinking in this direction. Everybody want to have something, everybody want to start something of their own, but many a times it happens that they are not getting the proper guidance as such. So today we are fortunate that we have such kind of eminent people who are having expertise in many of the fields. So definitely they will guide us in this regard. Friends, one news I have heard, you might be knowing Elon Musk, founder of Tesla. He has announced a price of 70 crore and one brand Tesla car to a person or agency who will hack his company. See friends, there are n number of opportunities are there, and see, this is the positive thing we can have. The person is saying that you can hack our company and get the prize. So definitely, so purpose behind, or you can say the motto behind such kind of prize announcement is that Elon Musk might have done something special to protect his company. So just for information, I have shared this. So I'll not take much of the time because all we are eagerly waiting for listening from the resource persons. So once again, I welcome all the resource persons and I appeal all the students to get maximum things out of this webinar. So thank you, friends. Thank you. What do you?
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. S.D. Navle, sir, principal of our institute, to guide us.
Hello, good morning to all of you. Can you hear me?
Yes, good
sir.
morning, sir.
Okay, good morning to all of you. On behalf of NB Navle Singh College of Engineering, I would like to welcome today's eminent speakers, Mr. Yogesh Kondaskar, Mr. Nitesh Agarwal, and Ms. Kaila Romini, to be the speakers on this occasion to guide our students on the topic of accelerators, incubation opportunities for students and faculties, early stage entrepreneurs. Dear friends, I will not take much of your time, but I would like to inform today that I think as Professor Naikode sir is not there in this room right now, he would have already informed you. We know that we have this IIC, and through IIC we are conducting so many sessions for the students, and we want that entrepreneurship culture to be promoted and to be inculcated among the students and the faculty of our college. That's our role. Being institute, we always support everyone who are getting associated with us. Today also, as Professor Phatak sir said, we have our alumni students who are attending this session along with our regular students, but we have some external guests also who are attending this session. I'm very sure that this session will be helpful to all of them. I would like to share one good news with all of you that yesterday only we have got one mail from Minister of Education. We actually, you know that being a part of IIC, we have a new initiative which is called as NISP, National Institutional Startup Policy. We have already designed our policy, startup policy, and we have actually published our startup policy. That startup policy is available on our website. If you want, you can go and see our NISP startup policy. And Minister of Education has accepted our policy. Yesterday only we have got mail that they have welcomed our policy and they are going to invite us for the next program. This is from my side. Once again, I would like to welcome all the speakers, and I would like to wish for the success of this session. I must congratulate all the coordinators from Computer Science Engineering Department as well as the coordinators from IIC who have taken the initiative to organize this function. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Over to you, Tanjila.
Thank you, sir. I know, since Thakur ma'am has introduced about today's guest, you all are eager to listen to them. So without wasting of much of time, I request our today's speaker to start the session.
Thank you everyone for the kind words and the amazing welcome. So thanks a lot. And one more thing I'm going to tell you that we have been talking to many colleges about their startup policy and their incubation cell, and what your college is doing is just amazing. I mean, what I heard from Jadhav sir, all the activities that you have conducted under the startup policy and under the Innovation Council. So it's really hats off to Principal Sir, Navle sir, and the entire staff members for really making the most out of this particular initiative and giving an opportunity to your students to innovate. So with that, let me just try to share. I have a presentation. I'm going to try and share. So if you can please bear with me. Also, I would like to ask the coordinator if they can make Nitesh Agarwal also as a presenter. He just joined.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So-
sir. I have made that. Yeah, I have.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so are you able to see my screen now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Okay, so you must be wondering what is a giant panda doing on a webinar about innovation. The reason I have this giant panda is, let me tell you something about this species. So giant pandas were supposed to go, I mean, in the late 90s, they had started going extinct. And because of their, this is the most important word, because of their resilience and because of the commitment from the, definitely from the nature lovers, then we have been able to turn that tide. And now the giant pandas are flourishing in parts of China where they, where they come from. So, and this has a big lesson for all of us, especially during the pandemic that we are in the midst of right now, that we need to learn something from this giant panda, that any challenges that are thrown at us, we cannot stop with those challenges. We just have to go on and make the best of the opportunities that are thrown at us. This is the team. We have Nitesh who's going to be speaking. Kayla is not able to join because of the timing clashes, and she had some other commitments because it's a Friday late night for us here. So let me, I'm just quickly going to talk about, there's like a lot of bad news on the news right now. You see COVID-19 and the pandemic everywhere. You see about slow job growth. Most businesses have taken a big hit, and unemployment numbers are high and everything. And that is kind of like a concern for a lot of students. But I want to tell you that there is a lot of good news in this particular pandemic. And so here's the good news. If you look at the industry trends right now, there's a lot of industries that have really picked up and made the most of this opportunity. And the first one is the Industry 4.0 revolution and the automation in the manufacturing industry. So this is going great, especially with the pandemic, since people are stuck at home. Companies have to innovate, and companies that were already innovating and utilizing automation are doing good and flourishing. Same thing with the e-commerce and Uber economy. We see like Swiggy, Zomato, and these companies and Amazon and Flipkart helping us get by, in this pandemic, even when people are stuck at home. And the third one is, of course, software and innovation, which is doing amazing, which was resilient to any, because people are already used to working from home in the software and the technology industry. So they were not affected by the pandemic. So, if you look at the whole thing, if you look at everything that's going on in the innovation world, you will notice something, that the future of work is green. What I mean by this is that a lot of the jobs are going to go towards greener jobs. So, as the world is going to focus on sustainable development and United Nations global goals. I don't know how many of you are familiar with United Nations global goals, but that's a platform that UN has launched with some challenging targets to be achieved by 2030. And all of the countries are supposed to be participating and are part of this and are working towards implementing these sustainable development goals. And with the pandemic has given an opportunity to really accelerate the development for these sustainable development goals. So, anybody who is graduating definitely needs to take a look at, engineering graduates need to take a look at what exactly sustainable development is, what global goals are, and how they can tailor their experience and their expertise to get into these opportunities and make the most out of them. So like Jadhav sir and other faculty members said, that the key to success right now is innovation. I like the one of his messages that if six young entrepreneurs start a startup, they can create jobs for 60 students, and that is what we need right now. So basically, the message of the day is to innovate. We have to become innovators, find problems, and find a solution to those problems. Steve Jobs has famously said that innovation is the ability to see change as an opportunity and not as a threat. So basically, anything that you see this is like very valid and makes a lot of sense in the current world. So basically, people who got threatened by having to work from home, or how I'm going to do that, this work from home, or this pandemic, I'm going to fail in this pandemic. So those haven't succeeded, but the people who have succeeded are the ones who saw an opportunity in that particular change, and they made the most out of the opportunity. You see so many startups that have like taken up this as an opportunity. There's a friend of mine who has a fresh produce home delivery startup, and he has made the most out of this opportunity, and his startup has like expanded like anything during this pandemic, where they're delivering food to the doorstep, to people's doorstep, fresh produce from the farm to the people's doorstep. So, innovation is basically, you have to see it as an ability to make the most out of an opportunity, not as a threat. So this is like, this is the journey of innovation. Okay. The first step into innovation is to find a problem. They say that the bigger the problem that you're trying to solve, and the bigger the problem you have a solution for, the higher the success is going to be, the bigger the success is going to be. So, this is like, as an engineer, as an innovator, you have to look at problems, look at the challenges, look at the day-to-day problems that you might be facing as an individual. Like maybe your region is something, and then apply your knowledge that you have gained in your engineering courses and to find solutions to those problems. Team up with, find groups, sometimes you might be with in the computer science department, but you might be working on a problem that has a mechanical challenge as well. So basically, teaming up, forming groups with cross departments, and trying to find a solution to problems, and that's how you're going to be innovating. The most important one is the second one. To be an innovator, you have to think outside the box. So, like a lot of the problems that you are going to see, you will see that there's if the solutions were easy, people would have found and went about with the solutions. So you have to start looking outside the box and challenge your mind to come up with a solution for those problems. And like there's a the best thing right now is the access to Google. Google is a huge source available for people to do the research, to look at how other people have solved these challenges, what other startups have done, and it's a great resource that you can utilize to just think outside of your curriculum, outside of what you have learned in the curriculum, to find the solutions that you are trying to get to. The next step, once you have identified a problem, found a solution, the next step is to make sure that your solution is a fit for the problem that you're trying to solve. Okay, so that's the first thing in your innovation journey. And the way to do that is with a quick win pilot. So basically, with a quick win pilot, you can prototype your solution that you're imagining, and then we use that to validate your hypothesis. So basically, startup is nothing but a problem-solving journey, just like you would do in any other experiment. So it's like an experiment where your quick win pilot is the experiment that you are doing to validate your hypothesis. Okay, the initial solution that you thought is going to solve the problem. And with this, at this step, you basically validate your hypothesis with a quick win pilot. You do a pilot, you test it in a small area. So, I mean, if your solution is for, let's say, for a like if you're trying to find a solution in this particular, like trying to find how you can allocate beds, let's say, in this particular pandemic, and so you can start with a single hospital and build a solution for that single hospital, and then validate your solution if the solution is working in that small setting before you think about growing and scaling your initiative. And once you have validated your pilot, I mean, here in this step, there could be multiple iterations that you have to go through. So you could be you could start with one solution and then realize that particular solution is not working out, and then you pivot and you make changes to the solution, and then till you finally find the solution that is working, that's the best fit to address that particular problem. Once you have done that, then comes the next stage, which is the commercialization stage. In this stage, you basically grow and scale your idea. You scale your idea from, let's say, one hospital in the example that I was talking about to multiple hospitals in the particular town, and then you go from one town to the entire state, and then you expand countrywide. That's how you grow and scale your initiative. And with that, that's not the end of the startup journey. One thing, if you look at companies that have failed in the past, I mean, there are major corporations in the United States which were big corporations, and they failed because they were not able to innovate, and smaller companies came in and they took the problem and solved it in a better way. But that's not the end of the road, because tomorrow somebody else can come and try to find a better solution for the problem that you have solved. And the way to keep those challengers at bay is to keep on innovating. So this is the lesson for every startup and every innovator, that your innovation journey basically never ends. You have to build fast, fail fast, and keep on trying new ideas and keep on innovating, and that is how you keep the edge in the innovation circle. Okay, so this was from the previous slide was from a startup's innovation journey. This is like as far as the stages of the startups are concerned. The reason these stages are important is because the stages are going to help us navigate our startup journey, especially the topic that we are going to talk about, the incubators versus accelerators, or what is the right funding option for you for the startup at that particular stage, or all those decisions are going to be based on the stages of the where your startup is in that particular startup journey. Okay, so the first stage is, like I said, is the idea stage. This is where you have an idea, you have a hypothesis, you have a solution in mind, and you are trying to build that solution out. Okay, so from this idea stage, you go to the next stage, which is the seed stage. At seed stage, you typically have something called as a minimum viable product, MVP. Okay, minimum viable product is basically like a basic solution that addresses your problem, but it doesn't address everything. So it's the minimum that you need to solve for your problem. The minimum, it doesn't have any fancy features, any of the things that are not really essential. And that's what is called as a minimum viable product. I think, I heard from Jadhav sir that you had a session on lean startups. So you must be familiar with, if you have attended that session, you must be familiar with minimum viable product, and which is an outcome from the lean startup methodology. The next stage is the early stage. So basically, this is where you're basically finding the product market fit for your product. You're taking the product to one of the markets and trying out the product in that particular market, and like making sure that your solution is actually working for the problem that you're trying to solve. And then the next one is the growth stage, which is where you expand the solution to multiple locations. And finally is the exit stage. Exit is basically for a startup. It could be, there could be multiple exits. A lot of startup founders just aim for taking the startup public as an exit, but that may not be the right solution for all startups. Sometimes some startups are meant to be, working with other bigger corporations under their umbrella. So like acquisition might be a better option for exit for certain startups. And these are some of these challenges is where mentors, accelerators, incubators, all of these help organizations come into play to help you navigate this journey in the best and the most efficient way, so that you improve your chances of success with your startup. You have to remember one thing, that 90% of startups don't succeed. Okay, so that's something that you have to remember very well. Then there's a lot of startups who never make it. There's a lot of startups who never get to a VC funding stage. And and the difference for these startups is basically making the right choice at the right time. Finding the right mentors, finding the right advisors, working with the right organizations that are going to support you in the startup journey. So let's move on to the next slide. So incubators versus accelerators. Okay, so I'm sure all of you must have heard about incubators and accelerators, and you must have questions about, which is why you're here in this session. So, so incubators and accelerator, let's talk about the things that are common between the two. Okay, so both of these are startup support organizations. They support startups in their innovation journey. The stages are different, but they connect you with network, they connect you with mentors. So these are some things which are common between both the organizations, both the type of support organizations. So, but then there are some key differences, and that is going to help you decide which organization you approach at which stage. The incubation is basically, if you know what is an incubation, incubation is basically converting like from an egg to a chicken, like in case of a chicken incubation. But so basically incubation is, incubators are organizations that help startups go from the idea stage to the seed stage. So basically, incubations help you to take your idea, make sure that your solution is the right solution for the problem that you're trying to solve, help you find mentors, help you get the network that you need, the advisors that you need. Maybe if you need you're looking for a co-founder, like if you're a techie and you're an innovator and you're looking for a co-founder who is a business person. So all of these are what you can get from an incubator, and they help you to get from the idea stage to the seed stage. Sometimes incubators also help you with the seed stage funding, which is like the early funding that you get. Typically, incubators do not take equity from the startup. Okay, so incubators are mostly organizations that charge you for their services, and they provide you a network. Versus accelerators, if you see, accelerators typically take anywhere between 1 to 15% of the equity and they invest some capital into the startup. Typically, accelerators come at a later stage. They look for startups that already have a MVP, that already have a product. Some accelerators, they look for startups with certain revenue margins. So basically, they look for certain revenue that they benchmark, and annual recurring revenue that the startup has generated. So they look for some others look for funding raised from funding sources. So there are various parameters. So typically, accelerators work with a cohort. So they have a competition, and a lot of startups apply for those accelerators. And some of the top accelerators from Bay Area, like 500 Startup, like Anderson Horowitz, and a lot of these accelerators, or Mass Challenge is also one of them, where they take there's like thousands of applications that they receive, and they accept like almost some of them, popular ones, accept like 1 to 2% of the applications that they come in, the startups that apply to their competitions. So that's basically the difference between an incubator and accelerator. So basic early stage is your incubators, accelerator is your later stage. Once you have an MVP, once you have got certain revenue from your startup and you're looking to grow and scale your startup, that's when you go to an accelerator. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit more about incubator. So incubators, they like accelerator, they provide coaching and mentor network. Typically, incubators provide you access to their network, and these networks can give you things like advisors. I mean, if you're looking for advisors, so advisors, one thing you have to remember, that having a good, strong set of advisors for your startup is something that will decide the success of your startup. Advisors are people who will who spend like maybe 10 to 15 hours every month speaking with you and supporting you. But these are accomplished individuals who have already made a mark in the industry. They have connections, they know how to do things, maybe they have successful startups under their umbrella, and these are like the super mentors that you have for your organization, and they will help you grow and scale your startup. A lot of these you have to pursue a lot to find the right advisors and to bring them under your umbrella. But once you get them, they will help you solve the challenges that your startup faces. Similarly, there are sometimes incubators provide you access to mentors. These are like, sometimes these are like paid mentors and mentors who could be eventually coming in as an advisor to the startup, but they can be supporting specific functions. I mean, you can find a mentor who's going to help you with your marketing strategy, let's say. And so this early stage of startup, you cannot have all your functions under your startup. So typically you're going to focus, maybe you're a techie founder, and you're focusing on the development of your product, and you need co-founders, but you think that marketing is not somewhere where you need a co-founder. So this is where you can get an access to a mentor from an incubator. So incubator can connect with you with a mentor who's going to support you on your marketing plans, and like you can have a mentor who can guide you on how to pitch for pitch competitions. There's mentors available who will support you on anything, on the financing, on incorporation of the startup. Okay, how to navigate the incorporation journey, how to be like, especially in India where there's a like to register a business, there's a lot of process that you have to go through. So these mentors can help you with those challenges. The next one, what incubators offer is the office space. A lot of incubators have the concept similar to co-working spaces. I think everyone must be familiar with the co-working spaces. Co-working spaces is where like startups and young entrepreneurs find a lot of network to grow, as well as a workplace without having to invest in an entire office space. So that's something that you can get from an incubator. One other thing that incubators can offer you through their network is seed funding. This is something that not all incubators do, but a lot of incubators will connect you with their network, give you access to their network where you can get seed funding. Seed funding can be challenging, I mean, especially because it's at a very early stage, and founders end up giving a lot of equity for seed funding. So a lot of founders try to subvert it, not you go for seed funding, use friends and family for early funding. So there's various strategies, but a lot of incubators will support you on seed funding. And also the next one is product development. So basically they will help you in terms of, like I said, in the problem solution fit. They'll help you identify the problem. They will help you in the strategy. They will help you in building the roadmap for the product and getting the product development done as well. So basically incubators are like your partners to take your startup from an idea to a fully validated minimum viable product, like MVP. So everything in between, from seed funding to product development and growth strategy, and even like these mentor networks can connect you with your early clients, your first client that you're looking for. So incubator is like definitely a great place to check out. So I connects on so yeah, basically, so incubator is like definitely something that early stage. One of the things that the startup initiative, the startup program 2019 of the government of India, that gives you is like a startup cell, or the which is also sort of like an incubator. Okay, so I think yours particular colleges do like has a lot of programs, so you can look at that as your incubator or your early incubator for your startup journey. Some of the things that you may not get could be complemented with organizations like Excubator. So basically, the organization that I had, Excubator, is an incubator with a difference. We do not bring the startups in-house. Basically, the startups are working remote, and we give them access to the mentors, coaching, and give them access to all the resources that they need to take their product from idea to a MVP stage. I'll talk more about Excubator in the later part of the webinar. So I would like to invite everyone. We are at Excubator. We have a tech innovation cohort in September 2021. That is something that you should check out and join us for that. I'm going to quickly talk about, so like I said, Excubator is an incubator with a difference. The reason I say it's an incubator with a difference is it's not like a traditional incubator. We do not take any equity from the startup, and we provide the startup with the resources that they need, to the network that they need, the mentors that they need to succeed. Our model works in a slightly different way. So with the Excubator, we also have something called as Excubator Academy. In this Excubator Academy, we offer courses related to technology. So IT courses, a lot of, because a lot of startups that we are interested in at Excubator are tech startups that are in software application space. So basically, it could be mobile apps, could be web application startups, or could be IoT and future tech startups. So that's our sweet spot. And so to go along with that, we are like at Excubator Academy, we offer courses that are tailored for young graduates to gain the additional knowledge they may need to go from their whatever they have learned at the college to start their innovation journey. So, Mark Anderson, who is the founder of Anderson Horowitz, which is one of the top VC firms, so he said this a few years back. He said that software is eating the world. And what he means by this is basically the whole innovation is being taken over by software. If you see like half of the startups around the world, or more than a significant more number than the 50%, are just software startups that are in the tech industry. So basically, or even if you go to any big corporation, take any corporation, every company is being running on software right now, be it from like a bus transport company to a company that is manufacturing cars. So everybody is running on software. Especially for India, IT has done miracles. India has grown and scaled on the back of IT. IT is it's the $191 billion US billion dollar industry in India. Every year we have 2 lakh new hires, and even in this pandemic, there are 13,000 plus open jobs that you can see as per one of the recent surveys. Just the top 4 IT companies employ over 10 lakh people. So, and some of the smartest minds are working on solving challenges around the world in the IT industry. So, which is the reason like you see so much innovation in IT in India. And especially since you're from computer science, and so it definitely makes sense for you. And this is like something that should make you pleasantly happy about the situation, that we are in a country where there's tremendous opportunity and tremendous growth opportunity for IT. These are some of the hard skills in IT that are in demand, like cloud engineers, because everything is moving over to cloud. Full stack developers, robotic process automation, which is kind of like a entryway to artificial intelligence and machine learning. And then mobile app developers, software testers, and agile scrum masters. So at Excubator, we have a very unique model for our IT training. We provide online training, and then we have to complement that. We also provide in-center guidance, because in-center guidance we think is very essential for one thing is for students to get their questions answered, but the second thing is to also network and form teams and work in collaboration with other people. And that's how IT works. I mean, it's a team effort, and individual, rather than working as an individual, if people form teams and work as they do their projects in teams, they are more successful and better chance at learning. We also support in certification and then interview and placement. These are some of the courses that we are offering at Excubator Academy. So we offer full stack developer, mobile app developer, software tester, scrum master, business analyst, and there's a lot of other courses that we will be offering in future as well. These are some of the advantages for Excubator Academy. It's like I said, it's online self-paced training, in-center guidance, certification and interview prep, flexible learning program. It's cost effective. And also one of the unique things about Excubator Academy is that after your training, a lot of students get an opportunity to work with some of the startups that are working with Excubator. So they get an internship opportunity with those startups. And that is a great learning to look at other startups and what they are doing, their challenges. And that will help a lot of students to gain the skills for their own innovation journey, to get on their own startup. So let's jumpstart your career. This is where to go to enroll into one of the programs, excubator.com/enrollnow.html, or you can email admissions@excubator.com to learn more about the courses Excubator Academy offers. You can email info@excubator.com for any questions about the innovation, the incubation programs that Excubator offers, the startup support services. Okay, so this is that is all I have for my presentation. I'm going to pass on the mic to Nitish. Kela is not.
Thank you, Yogesh, for such an informative session. I would like to thank everyone for inviting us to share our knowledge. Thank you, professors. Thank you, college, and thank you, students, for organizing this. So this is going to be a little bit interactive session. I don't have any presentation prepared with me, so I'm just going to be just speaking and talking with you and understanding what your vision is, what you're looking to when you're completing the college, what you're going to do past that. So what is the first thing? Can anybody shout out there? What is the first thing when they heard about this word entrepreneurship? What is the first thing that comes to their mind? Like when somebody comes and say to I am an entrepreneur. What do you think? What comes to your mind? Can anybody raise a hand, or can anybody put a chat, anything like that? Nobody? Okay. So let me tell you that, let me tell you my experience. When I was, when I was in my engineering college, I was, I don't know what to do, right? I'm like, okay, I'm an engineer. I started my career, I started engineering. Now what to do? What next for me? So that's across, I went to talk to my seniors. I went to talk to my industry experts that are there out there. I went to talk to my brother who was eventually like a co-founder of a company. So I understand from him that, what is next for me? Is this engineering? After the next thing is job, what I should do next? So he told me that, okay, you can go ahead and look for an internship. And I was like, what is that? I'm like a little scared at that point, right? Because it's a big word and it's a big thing, big burden that you have to carry on. It's not like, when somebody says, okay, become an entrepreneur. So that's how everybody have their fear in their mind. I cannot be an entrepreneur. So let me ask you this: that when you say that, okay, you want to become an entrepreneur, what questions came into my mind? That will I become a success? Will my idea become a success? Or if somebody is going to steal my idea, what if I fail? Will I be able to start again? All these questions came into my mind when I was thinking to become an entrepreneur. And that eventually gets solved as I started my journey. I know that, okay, I went to my parents, I said them, okay, I want to become an entrepreneur. They said, okay, it is difficult, it's a long journey. But yeah, everything takes time. Nothing is, it's nothing, it's just, on the day one you will be able to start and become an expert, right? So that's how it is. And as Yogesh said, that incubator and accelerator, what I look, from my point of view, an incubator and accelerator is, my dad is an incubator who had helped me, giving space to live in, for product development, like for the what you say, the seed funding for my education and everything. And accelerator is my mom, that, who have constantly making sure that I do not sleep in nights and do my studies and get good marks, and we understand that. So those are my incubators and accelerators. And I feel that, today when you go home, tell your mom and dad that, okay, you guys are incubators and accelerators, right? Now let me ask you one thing, that, okay, what do you think that, when you decide that, okay, when you how should you what should you do, right? First thing is, don't get afraid. It is a long journey. Second thing, I'll say that, okay, talk to people about your idea. Take your idea, talk to your friends, talk to your parents, talk to your seniors, talk to professors. Go them, tell your idea. Get all the criticism you can get, right? Don't worry about it, even if it's bad, good. Don't get disheartened. That's how the entrepreneurship is, right? Anything you learn, you will always learn from them. You will always learn from criticism. You'll always learn new things from them. And never get disheartened if anybody says to you that, okay, this is not a good idea. I don't think, oh, this idea has been done by somebody else. Think about it like Uber and Ola, right? Both have the same concept, both does the same thing, but both have their own set of space, both have their own good space, and they both are successful. Both are there in their like, both have been in a good journey. Okay. So sorry, I don't have any material ready that I can, I don't have any like a flow to give you all, guys. I'm just giving a random thoughts and expressing my opinions. So that's how I see, that if you have any questions, if you if you think that, okay, entrepreneurship is difficult, don't get afraid. Always start your journey. Always think about it. Always innovate. Innovation always happens at home, right? Whenever you are at home, your mom is cooking a lot of things. She innovates a lot of things. She learns a lot of things. She's innovating. So that's what innovation is. Your dad solve all your critical problems. You come to your dad and says, okay, you want to say a few things, and that's how the critical problem gets solved by your dad, right? So that's how it is. So look at the problems at your house, look at the problems in your surroundings, and whatever you see, just see that, okay, if you can build something out of this, and don't worry, even if it's existing, you can always just take it that way. Don't worry about the failure part. And right now, the hot technology, the topic is blockchain. Everybody's talking about blockchain. Everybody is talking about the innovations happening in blockchain. So if you have let's say, don't as I said, when you hear about blockchain, you are like, okay, I didn't study in my college. I don't know what blockchain is. I have not studied a single concept of blockchain. So should I pursue this? Should I take blockchain as my my idea to start an idea? Definitely you can. Blockchain is not a big thing. Everybody know database, right? So blockchain is a type of database. It's just
Good morning, sir.
blockchain is a type of database that stores information into blocks, right? Every time a new data comes in, it's entered into a fresh block, and once that block is filled with a change, once that block is filled with data, it is changed into previous block, and that's how blockchain is generated. So the goal of the blockchain was to make it immutable. That is, that any document that has been inserted into blockchain
Good
a
morning,
state
sir.
document or
Hello.
yeah, sorry.
Am I audible, sir? Good morning, sir.
Sorry.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
So could you share your experience regarding two developed apps? You have developed two apps, so could you please share something about that?
Sure. So yeah, so if you want to develop an apps, right? First thing is what technology. First thing comes to your mind here, okay? If you want to develop an app, you want to develop in Android and iOS, both, right? So first thing comes to your mind, okay, what technology should I take on? So whenever you are coming across that, okay, I want to develop an app, try to find a technology that is easy to understand, and then you can and that you can develop on all the platforms. So nowadays I can say Flutter is a good technology that you can take hands on. There are a lot of informative sessions. As Yogesh said, Google is the most informative resource right now. There are a lot of YouTube videos that you can take a look at, and I can say that if you want to develop an app, within a week you should be able to develop a good sizable product that you can share with your professor, share with your friends that this is your first app, and it will give you a different feeling when you develop that. Like I'll try to see if I can share some links, some resources that you can take a look on, that how to develop your first app using Flutter. Right now Flutter is a good technology. It helps you develop hybrid apps. Like you don't need to write multiple codes in iOS, in Java for Android and other technologies. It's just you write one single code. If you know basic JavaScript that you have learned in an engineering, you can just use that and write it in Flutter, and that's it. Your app is ready to be developed, and your app is ready to be deployed to people, to customers. And yes, first, don't worry about the when you're developing an app, that if you know the technology, always take everything as a challenge, right? Don't think about that, okay, I don't know this, I don't know that. That is not the case. If you Google it, you will know a lot of things, you can learn a lot of things. You guys are engineers, there is nothing that you cannot learn, right? So that's how it is, that if you want to develop an app, for now I can say that you can use Flutter technology, and that is, you can develop that app. That technology will help you develop in both Android and iOS. I hope that was you were looking for.
Yeah, so I think what I would add is to what Nitish said is, so basically, just to give you a background, there is for any mobile app development, there is something called as native apps. Native apps are apps that are developed on the particular platform. So native apps are developed separate. You have to have a separate code base for Android, a separate code base for iOS, because those are native apps. And then there is the hybrid apps. Hybrid apps use other technology, like Nitesh mentioned, like Flutter. Flutter is a technology where which is a hybrid app platform, or there is, I think a lot of people must have heard about a technology which was popular, which was called PhoneGap. So all these technologies, what they do is they give you a single code base that can be deployed to Android as well as iOS. So it prevents the redundancy of development. Also, it makes sure that the bugs, I mean, there are no discrepancies between the apps in one environment versus the other. So, it makes sure that the iOS app functions exactly like the Android app, which is the benefit of the hybrid app. Also, it makes the development a lot faster compared to building native apps. So yeah, that's basically one of the difference between native and hybrid. And why hybrid is popular right now. So basically, if you look at Flutter that Nitesh mentioned, that's one of the technology that is being very, very popular right now for building mobile applications.
Yes, because it gives you a native feeling, right? Flutter right
Right.
now, obviously, as Yogesh said about PhoneGap, and there are other technologies like Cordova and everything, but those hybrid technologies were not able to give the native feeling. Flutter overcome that, and now you can get that native feeling, and it is very difficult to figure out that if this app is developed using Flutter, or if it's a web app, or it's a native app. So there are three things: web app, native app, and hybrid app. So people either uses Cordova internally uses your HTML and JavaScript code and then deploy it, and that's how. But when you open the app, you will feel that okay, it's not a native app. So that Flutter have overcome it.
And also, like what Nitesh mentioned, right? That don't be scared of any programming languages. So basically, what I tell to any fresh graduates is make sure that you get your basics. Okay, the basics as in like understanding algorithm, understanding basic structure of a programming language, basic object-oriented programming concepts. Once you know these things, right? Once you know these things very well, you can just pick up any programming language, any technology, and you can learn that really, really quick. So when you are doing those basics in college, do those basics, get those basics right, understand them very well. Make sure that you understand the logical flows in an algorithm, make sure you understand object-oriented concepts. Once you pick up, like you must have, I think, C or Java in your courseware. So those languages will give you the basics of object-oriented programming, and then you can apply those in any other programming language. So then it's just the syntax that you're learning. When you go from, let's say, Java to Node.js, you're learning, and then there are some certain concepts about that particular language that you do need to learn. But once you have your basics, then going from one language to another becomes a lot easier. So understand the basics is what I would say at this stage, and when you're in college.
Hello, one of our students is having a question, sir.
Yes. Actually, you know what? I have, if he can hold, I just have a few slides that I'm going to go over, and then we have a
question and answer session.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
We'll have the questions, if that's okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, no problem.
Okay, so while I have this opportunity, I'm going to talk a little bit about Connexon. Kayla was going to talk more about Connexon, but I'll do it since she's not here. Connexon is a platform for impact. It's a social network that we are building for impact. The idea is to help all of us find our purpose. Okay, so if you look at our life, right? If you look at the aspects of our life, we have our personal life. Things that we are, our family and our personal responsibilities, our friends and family that we are responsible for. Then we have our professional life. So basically, the company, if you take up a job, if you work on something, then, or if you have your own startup, then that's your professional life, where you have to be you have to do justice to that professional life. But apart from this personal and professional life, we have something else, which is our social responsibility, our social life. Okay, and this is getting very, very essential right now, especially with the challenges where I mentioned about the global goals, United Nations global goals earlier. So with that, right, I mean, there's a lot of challenges India is facing. There's a lot of challenges the world is facing in terms of like climate change, in terms of eradicating poverty, hunger, and there's a lot of issues that there are in our society. And so in ConnexOn, the idea is to bring those issues to forefront, give highlight to those issues and help people find their purpose. Each one has a purpose in our life. We are here to, our life, we have to find that why of our life. What is the purpose? Why are we here? And, work on addressing, giving back to the society, especially as an engineering graduate. You are going to settle into good careers and have good opportunities. So when you're doing that, you have to keep that social responsibility also in mind. You have to make sure that you cater to your social responsibility. And like right now, you may not be able to do a whole lot, but there's a lot that you can still do. Like volunteering. A lot of charities and social organizations and NGOs need volunteers. They need people to give their time. So what I recommend everybody is to look for volunteer opportunities. Find a charity that you like. Find a local charity that is doing a good job. Find an NGO that is supporting something for the society. Join, go ask them, talk to them, find out what you can do for them, if they have any volunteer opportunities. On ConnexOn is, like I said, is a platform for impact. We are, right now, we don't have the feature, but soon we'll have the feature where you'll be able to find volunteer opportunities on ConnexOn. I would suggest everybody to go check out ConnexOn on the App Store. Look for ConnexOn. It's spelled KANEXON. Search for that app, download the app, and participate. I think there's a lot that all of us can do for giving back to the society. So, yeah. Thank you. This is what I'm going to ask everyone to do next. We have a feedback form. If you can share your feedback, that would be really appreciated. I think it helps us keep innovating, keep adding more content that is going to add more value to you or to other students that we talk to in future. So your feedback is like really valuable for us. Also, like I said, please download ConnexOn app. Also visit excubator.com. Look for what we are doing in the startup space. Also look for the Excubator Academy and the courses. And if you're interested in enrolling in any of those courses. And then you can follow all three of us on LinkedIn. We are most active on LinkedIn. So you can follow us on LinkedIn. You can send a connection request, and I always accept connection request on LinkedIn. So connect with me, connect with Nitesh, connect with Kela, and we can help you in your startup journey. Any questions you may have, we are always willing to help. So with that, I would like to open the line for questions. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, sir. Can you tell me about what is the blockchain in brief?
Blockchain?
You want to take it or?
Yeah, I just wanted to hear the question. What is the blockchain?
Yeah, if you can just briefly explain what is blockchain. Right?
Oh, okay. Is that what your question is? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So blockchain, as I said, blockchain is a specific type of database. Okay. It differs from a typical database, how it stores information. So blockchain stores information in blocks. So let's say as any new data comes in, it goes into a fresh block, and every block has a size defined. And once that block size is filled with data, it gets chained to the previous block. That's how your blockchain develops, right? So that is just that's how it is. And in blockchain, you can store any type of data, like you can store your identity information, you can store your, let's say, if you're working in a inventory company, you can store a inventory information. If you can store ledgers of transactions, you can store anything, right? So that is in simple words what blockchain is.
Yeah, I think I would add one more thing. So basically, there is something called as a hash key in a blockchain. So basically, what is done is, when, like Nitesh said, when the block is full, that block gets written, but the next block generates the hash of that particular block that got saved, and that hash key of the previous block is saved in this new block. And this way, it makes sure that the chain can never be broken. So basically, if anybody tries to break the chain, if anybody tries to insert a different block, the chain will never consolidate. That block key is never going to match with the next block. And that is how it may, blockchain makes sure that the ledger is immutable. That's what they say. So basically, like in a typical database, you can go and delete some records or you can modify some records. But in a blockchain, once a record is written, it's permanent. You cannot modify, because if you try to modify or try to hack, the entire chain is going to break. The next record block is not going to match the hash of the block. So that's how it makes sure that the blocks are immutable.
Sir, I have one question related to this. I have heard that blockchain concept is used in a cryptocurrency, sir. So what type of data is stored in the blockchain for the cryptocurrency markets?
Nitesh, you want to take it?
Yeah. So what kind of data, right? So now, if you're talking about cryptocurrency, so you will come to you would have known about Bitcoin, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes. So what data is stored in the blockchain, as Yogesh said, the hash. So first thing is, let's say that if you are talking about cryptocurrency, what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a currency that you can transfer from one wallet, a digital blockchain wallet, to another blockchain wallet. And every blockchain has their own set of token, right? So if you're talking about Bitcoin, they have their own blockchain. If you're talking about Ethereum, it has their own blockchain. And every blockchain has their token economy, right? So blockchain, you can either run blockchain, have a token on a blockchain, or you can run a blockchain without any token. Okay. So cryptocurrency, let's say Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, and it runs on their own blockchain network. And data stored is that the data, that is what money you're transferring, from what address you're transferring, from like your private key. So your blockchain will have a wallet. Like, let's take an example of a wallet. How your bank wallet works. You store your password, you store your secret key, you store your everything and give to bank. So that's how it is a blockchain. When you create a wallet on a blockchain, there are two things: public key and private key. So the private key you store with you, and public key is stored on the blockchain, that everybody can see your public key. So that at the public key is your wallet address. That address you can give to anyone and say that, okay, this address belongs to me, right? And
yeah.
Right. So now when you want to use that address and want to transfer some like, let's say, some amount or some coin or some token from it to another address, you need a private key. So what you do is you do a handshake with your private key and public key. As you do in your code, right? When you have public and private key concept, you do a handshake with private and public key, and then you can use that wallet and transfer money from that place to another. So all this information, that this handshake information, your amount that was transferred from one address to another address, your timing of the blockchain, your block number, at what block it was transferred, and your transaction hash details, all those things are stored in the blockchain. Now, the idea behind is, so what blockchain helps is that once you submit a transaction, that money can always be tracked. Tracked in the sense meaning is, let's say that you transfer from A address to B address. Now from B address it went to D address, D to E, E to F, F to Z. So all this is chain. Since you're learning a blockchain, so all this data is chained together. So now the Z address, if I go to Z address, I will get all the information back to leading me to A. That okay, the Z address got the money and the chain started from Z, A, B, C and landed to A. So that's how all the data and everything you will see on the blockchain. Like you can see the whole chain of your money transferred, whole chain of a data. Like for take an inventory example, take any example, right? So if let's say that if you're using blockchain in a shipping company, and you will see all your let's say if a truck carrying a data, truck carrying a load to from one place to another. So you can see all the data on blockchain. It depends how you design a blockchain. So if you're talking about cryptocurrency, that's how blockchain and cryptocurrency is defined. But if you're designing your own blockchain, then you can define it however what you want to put the data in. You can put your inventory information. You can put your, let's say, the truck information. That okay, where did the truck stop at this time? Where did the truck stop at this time? What information was unloaded? What product was unloaded, and everything. All of those things you can store it. There is no restriction that okay, you can only store this data. It depends on you what kind of data you want to store.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Tanzila, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. If anyone is having any doubt, then they can unmute their mic.
Hello, sir. I'm Ashish Avdani.
Ashish?
Yeah, sir, my question is, how can we start our own crypto wallet, like a small wallet we have in India, familiar like WazirX?
Yes. So right now, so so yes, as you said, WazirX, right? So when I run a cryptocurrency exchange called Rex, but you want to have your own decentralized wallet, right? Don't want to go in centralized way, right? That is what you want to ask, or you are asking me that if how you can start a wallet in an exchange.
No. I'm just asking.
Sorry, I think I lost you, Ashish. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Sorry to interrupt. I was muted.
Yeah, I lost you.
I was asking how we should start WazirX startup.
WazirX startup, right? So you want to start see, for if you want to start a startup, as I said, that to start a startup, first thing is what is your idea? Okay, first think about your idea that okay, so do you want to start exactly like WazirX? Do you want to start something that is different from WazirX? What do you want to do? Right? First, start define your idea. That what is your idea? Then find your audience. That okay, whatever your idea is. Then let's say you decide okay, I want to start a trading platform. Then figure out that from where you will find the traders that will trade on your platform. You can develop the platform, that's one part of it, but where is your traders coming from? How will you get the traders? What your trader wants? Find your audience, right? You need to figure out.
Sir, basically I have found that in India especially, even with the traditional trading platform, people are quite cautious, like we will lose our money and that.
Right.
So how even if it's a normal business,
Right.
people fear a lot. So
Right.
how can we convince people how
That's
to
see,
how our
okay.
crypto?
So now you're talking about WazirX. Tell me how many exchanges. Tell me how many. So now you want to start. Now you want to start do a startup like WazirX, right? So tell me how many startups you have explored, which does similar thing to WazirX. Did you
Sir,
explore anything? Did you explore?
I've encountered almost 3 to 4 wallets, like 3 to 4 startup like WazirX, but
Okay.
I found that only WazirX is Indian, and I'm not aware about other Indian startups like WazirX.
Okay.
But in foreign countries, they are a lot.
So that is your first step. So that is your first step, Ashish. Okay, so you're lacking your skills to find the startups that do the same thing. Okay, so figure out your competitors. That is what do we say in this startup market is figure out your competitors. So as you said, you are not able to find any other your competitor in India. So figure out there are competitors. There are other exchanges like Wasirex, there are Colodax, CoinDCX, and XYZ. There are other exchanges in India. So figure out your competitors. Go through all your competitors. Okay, go through all your competitors. What I mean is go through their websites, go to what they're offering, go to their channels, see what people are saying about those exchanges, see what people are facing issues at those exchanges. Okay, consolidate all that information, and then see if there any what security protocols they're offering on their exchanges. Consolidate that everything, and then you know that okay, these are the key points, these are the key points that are missing on those exchanges that you can offer from them. Okay, once you have those key points, once you know the differences, then you can start building startup based on those key points. As you said,
Yes, sir.
everybody is offering traditional trading platform, right? So
Yeah.
just try to go through all the platform, figure out the difference that that platforms are offering, then think about that what additional thing that you can give to your audience that those startups cannot give. So add that added extra flavor to your startup. When you add that extra flavor to your startup will be better than all the other startups.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying that we should have some competitive advantage.
Yes, always have a competitive advantage. Search, understand different startups, what they're offering, figure out that what they are doing, what they are not doing, what they would have done better, what they would have done better than if you are thinking a startup mindset, you would have thought, okay, no, this is the way I would have done better instead of this startup. So that's your knowledge. Now you know that okay, what you have to focus on and what you have to build on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You go back to that the innovation steps that I talked about, okay, and find a problem that you are trying to solve. Okay, you have to understand the problem that this is that my challenge. I'm trying to build a crypto exchange. So then you have to go find out what challenge users are facing in that exchange. So that's where your research comes in. And like I said earlier, use Google as your resource. Do search on Google, find what other exchanges are, then try creating accounts there, just all those whatever things you need to do your research to understand what they have, the features they have, and what they are lacking, and what is it that you can solve for. That's another way of going about finding a problem. Typically, I mean, there's two ways. One is a problem comes to you, I mean, like you have a problem that you see, and the other way is you find products that are around, and then you try to look for what is lacking in those and try to find a problem from a product. So either way works, basically.
And
Yes, sir.
if you remember, Yogesh has said to go for the basics. So as I'll say similarly here, first start focusing on the basics. That if you want to start an exchange, what are the basics that you will need? How you will get that basics? Like how will you get the platform? What technology you want to use? First, even start working on those basics first. That okay, if you want to build an exchange, you can also look at the basics. That okay, what you really need, you first will need to figure out your point, like if you want to start your alone, if you want to figure out your partners, and how will all what resources you will need, what it will cost you to do that, all of those things take into picture.
Yes, sir. Sir, as Yogesh sir mentioned that uh, uh, while starting a startup lose a lot of equity. So how we should compare? How we should convince that VCs or the investors to so that we can benefit maximum with their money and while not giving much more equity to them.
Okay,
So that's a long journey. I
I can
mean,
tell one point on there. So I can tell one point that you can focus on. Tell your story. Okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
if you want to go from a VC point of view, like if let's say that okay, if you want to convince Yogesh, if you want to convince Yogesh that okay, why Yogesh should invest money on you. So tell your story, tell about you, tell your background, tell how did you come up with this idea, tell why did you want to pursue this. When you tell that story, it gives a different perspective, because your story can never be told by anyone. Your story can only be told by you. Everybody will say that okay, it's $1 billion market, it's 1 billion customers and everything. But when you tell your story, you will give a good sense that okay, investor will good sense, okay, what if investor can invest in you, if that VC can invest in you. Okay, so work on your story part, and there are other factors like product market fit and competitions and your audience and everything. But yeah, your story is a very important part.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Tanzila?
I would like to thank Yogesh, Nitesh sir, for taking out time from his busy schedule. And this is really a fruitful session for all of us. Now I would like to invite Neha Kodam to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Tanzila. A very good afternoon to everyone. I am Miss Neha Kodam from third year CSC. I take this privilege to propose a vote of thanks for today's webinar on accelerators incubation, opportunities for students and faculties, early stage entrepreneurs, which is arranged in association with Institutions Innovation Council. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our today's resource person, Mr. Yogesh Kondaskar sir, co-founder of Connect-Zone, CEO and Chief Innovator at BZTune, and Mr. Nitish Agarwal sir, co-founder of Colodax and Crabdex. Once again, I thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with the knowledge of incubation accelerators. The session was very excellent and effective. Now, I would like to thank especially our management, Honorable Principal Dr. S.D. Navle sir, Vice Principal Dr. R.T. Vevare sir, for allowing us to organize such a fruitful webinar. Now, I would like to thank wholeheartedly HOD of our CSE department, Professor A.A. Phatak sir, for giving us permission to arrange this webinar. Now, I would like to thank our President of IIC, Professor S.T. Jagtap sir, and also I mention special thanks to Professor Z.I. Patel ma'am, convener of IIC, for guiding us. Now, I would like to thank from bottom of my heart our staff coordinator, Professor G.T. Thakur ma'am, who has worked so hard to make this event successful. And also would like to thank Mr. Sachin Fadtari sir for supporting us. Now, I would like to thank Ms. Tanzila Bisley for anchoring and all other institutions Innovation Council, staff and student coordinators who work so hard for great success of the event. Last but not least, to all the students for patience listening and such an overwhelming response. Once again, thank you so much. Principal sir, should we conclude the session? Hello.
Thanks, everyone.
Thakur madam, should we conclude?
Yes, madam. With the permission of higher authority, HOD sir,
Jagtap sir is there.
The session. Jagtap sir, HOD sir, shall we conclude our session?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Okay, so thank you so much everybody for attending this active sessions. It is really interactive sessions. I once again thank you Kondaskar sir and Nitish Agarwal sir for their giving their times and guiding our students and creating interactive sessions and also helping us with the way of that excavator courses and all those things. And I declare that the session is over.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.